Heard about you and your honeyed words.
So exciting when new folk come into town. I bet you've had plenty of adventures.
Too many frills detract from the cap.
Consider adoption. Wanted, a good home. In these days of war and strife, the orphans of Skyrim are the true victims. Many have no one left to turn to, and face a life of hard labor, poverty, and misery. If you could provide a stable home for one of these innocent children, please consider adoption. Whether you choose to adopt from us, or to take in someone closer to home, you can make a difference in a child's life. For more information, inquire with Constance Michel, Honor Hall Orphanage, Riften.
Stupid twat. Freeing solitude of being in the open wilds.
I'll kill you if I have to.
This is what you want, huh? I'll show you what a real orc is. Stand still.
You don't like it? Well then, fuck off!
Go ahead, try and fight.
Give up. You should have stayed in
I do what I do, and if you don't like it, tough.
Ha! Like the bite of a flea.
Watch it!
This can't be cool.
I was sure I heard something.
Watch where you step or you'll be leaving here over my shoulder. What's this place called? Mzinchaleft. Why do Dwemer places always have such fucking weird names?
I'll make sure he
You're so silent. I'll lose you if you're not in front of me.
Die this day. I swear to fuck.
Mzinchaleft work order by Serana. You want this in writing? Fine. The deal is, you lot help me get the artifacts out of this ruin, and I deliver them to my buyer. No artifacts, no coin. I will pay by the piece, so get as many as you can. Good luck getting anything for these without me. Serana.
This war has created so many orphans, and so few are willing to open their hearts to them.
Could I adopt one of your children?
Why, yes. Yes, of course. What a wonderful surprise.
Aye, lad.
What do I need to do?
It's fun.
First, I'll need to ask you a few questions.
Really nice.
Your name?
That's good. Maybe next time you can teach me a game.
What do you do for a living?
Really? Oh boy.
I'm the Dragonborn.
What? If you aren't going to be... Wait. Sure, you're serious. Well, All right then. Where will your child be living?
At Goldenglow Plantation.
Very well. That's all I need from you. Congratulations. I think you'll make an excellent parent. Go meet the children and decide who you'd like to adopt. Once you've made a decision, I'll collect their things and be sure they make it over to your house.
What can I do for you?
I think we should adopt from here.
Bringing a child into our lives is a huge choice. Are you sure about this?
I'm sure about this.
Aye. Maybe it's time to grow our family.
Working at the Riften fishery is tough, but it puts some coin in the pocket.
Looking to stay alive.
Go on then. Deliver my message to Sibyl.
Ah, you're back. What have you discovered?
I've located Grimsever.
Astonishing! To think you actually were able to reach it, and yet return to tell the tale? Rarely in my travels have I encountered those who possess skills equal to your own. I see I still have much to learn. If you'd permit me, I'd be honored to accompany you in your travels for a time.
I think you've had info, Wolf. Maybe
I
you
see
should
I
head
still
on
have
home.
much to learn. Lead on.
Stupid.
Take a good look around. I'm sure you'll find what you're looking for. If not, let me know. I might have it stored away. Have you managed to make it out to Shore's stone?
I've brought the ore sample from Filnjar.
Thank you. I'll be sure to get Elgrim to examine this as soon as his busy schedule allows. Here, I had him make you a few things for all that travel. Don't forget us if you need supplies for your journey.
When the Empire surrendered to the Aldmeri Dominion, they shamed us all.
Hi, Mr. Kaiden. I heard something about you today. They say you fought a troll with one hand and ate a sweet roll with the other.
Bounties make me hungry.
So it's true. Will you tell me the story?
How do you do things?
I'll tell you the rest another time, alright?
I want to be like that someday.
Well, you look pretty tough.
What is it then?
You'd have to learn how to use a weapon and how to hunt. All that boy stuff.
I already
today's
know how to
found you well,
chase
Thane.
chickens and yell dramatic things. I think that might be half the work. I'm pretty sure I could do it.
I readily believe that, lass. Well, I could probably teach you a thing or two about fighting monsters, if you're that sure of yourself.
Okay, but I want a sword with sparkles and a battle cry that rhymes.
Aye.
Okay, bye. I'll start practicing on barrels. You're the best. Can you be my mother?
I could adopt you if you want.
Really? Do you have a place I could live?
Yes, Goldenglow Plantation.
Oh, wow. Are you sure? You really wouldn't mind?
Yes, I'm sure, daughter.
Yay! Thanks, Mama. I promise I'll be the best daughter ever.
Why the fuck are you lugging all that shit around with you? Maybe you could lighten the load and sell some of it.
You need anything, come see me.
I'm so
I'm
cold.
as resourceful as I am discreet.
Who are you? Where are your parents?
They're dead. My mama died when I was little. I don't remember her very well. My father was a Stormcloak soldier. One day he left and didn't come back. I'm all alone. I try to sell flowers so I can buy food. It's not much, but what else can I do?
I could adopt you if you want.
Really? Do you have a place I could live?
Yes, Goldenglow Plantation.
Oh, wow. Are you sure? You really wouldn't mind?
Yes, I'm sure, daughter.
Yay! Thanks, Mama. I promise I'll be the best daughter ever.
Mysticism, The Unfathomable Voyage by Tetronius Null. Mysticism is the school of sorcery least understood by the magical community and the most difficult to explain to novice mages. The spell effects commonly ascribed to the school of mysticism are as extravagantly disparate as soul trap, the creation of a cell that would hold a victim's spirit after death, to telekinesis, the manipulation of objects at a distance. But these effects are simply that, effects. Sorcery behind them is veiled in a mystery that goes back to the oldest civilizations of Tamriel, perhaps beyond. The Psijics of the Isle of Artaeum have a different term for mysticism, the old way. The phrase becomes bogged in semantic quagmire because the old way also refers to the religion and customs of the Psijics, which may or may not be part of the magic of mysticism. There are few mages who devote their lives to the study of mysticism. The other schools are far more predictable and ascertainable. Mysticism seems to derive power from its conundrums and paradoxes. The act of experimentation, no matter how objectively implemented, can influence magicka by its very existence. Therefore, the mystic mage must consign themselves to finding dependable patterns within a roiling imbroglio of energy. In the time it takes them to devise an enchantment with a consistent trigger and result, their peers in other schools may have researched and documented dozens of new spells and effects. The mystic mage must thus be a patient and relatively uncompetitive philosopher. For centuries, mostly during the Second Era, scholarly journals published theory after theory about the aspect or aspects of magicka lumped together under mysticism. In the Mages Guild's tradition of finding answers to all things, respected researchers suggested that mysticism's penultimate energy source was the Aetherius itself, or else daedric beings of unimaginable power. Either rationale would explain the seemingly random figurations of mysticism. Some even venture that mysticism arose from the unused elements of successfully, or even unsuccessfully, cast spells. Discussion within the order of Psijics after Artaeum's reappearance has led some scholars to postulate that mysticism is less spiritual in nature, as was originally supposed, and that either the intellect or the emotional state of the believer is sufficient to influence its energy configuration and flow. None of these explanations is truly satisfactory taken by itself. For the beginning student of mysticism, it is best simply to learn the patterns distinguishable in the maelstrom of centuries past. The more patterns are discovered, the clearer the remaining ones become. Until, of course, they change, or inevitably they have to, and then the journey begins anew. The Alchemist's Formulary, a set of recipes which would be useful to either the healer, the traveler, or the adventurer. Healer's recipes. Healers should all know the recipes for the following popular potions. Fortunately, in most cases the ingredients are common and cheaply obtained. To restore health to the afflicted and wounded, combine in equal parts 2 or more of the following cheap and common ingredients: marshmallow, wickwheat, pork bulb, root, and salt rice. Marshmallow is an important crop of the Ascadian Isles, but it also grows wild in the Grazelands and on Azura's coast. Wickwheat is a wild ashland grain that grows in the Grazelands. Pork bulb grows best in the Ascadian Isles. Most salt rice comes from southeastern Morrowind, but there are also some new and prospering farms and plantations in the Ascadian Isles. Salt rice occasionally grows wild in the Grazelands and on Azura's coast. To restore fatigue after heavy exertion, combine 2 or more of the following: crab meat, bread, small quama egg, and chokeweed. Crab meat is taken from the mud crab, commonly found along all coasts. Bread in Morrowind is usually baked from salt rice flour. Quama eggs are harvested from egg mines and sold everywhere in Morrowind. Smaller eggs retain properties lost in later stages of gestation. Chokeweed is a tough shrub growing in the rocky highlands of the West Gash. To cure common diseases, combine grave dust and green lichen. Grave dust is spirit affinitive dust taken from the remains buried in consecrated ground. Green lichen is a hardy, primitive plant that grows in the Ascadian Isles and Azura's coast. To restore magicka for spellcasting, combine comberry and frost salts. Comberry is a bitter berry used to make wine. It grows mainly in the Ascadian Isles. Frost salts, by contrast, are rare and expensive. These crystalline compounds precipitate from elemental frost in solution. Such residues may be collected from the remains of frost atronachs that have been banished from the mortal plane. Travelers' recipes. Pilgrims and travelers will find the following inexpensive recipes of particular interest. Feather reduces the weary traveler's burdens, and can be gained from heather and scuttle. Heather is a low evergreen shrub of the Ascadian Isles, known for its small, pinkish-purple flowers. Scuttle, Vardenfell's favorite local dish, is similar to cheese and made from the flesh of local beetles. Levitation can be produced from any 2 of the following ingredients: trauma root, racer plumes, and coda flowers. A thick, bitter-tasting root of the trauma shrub grows in the Ashlands, Mullaghmar, and Red Mountain regions. Racer plumes are plucked from dead cliff racers. Coda flowers are collected from the primitive draggletail plant of the Bitter Coast. The power of water breathing is handy for travelers. A potion may be made from 2 or more of the following ingredients: luminous rusula, hackle low leaf, and quama cuttle. Luminous rusula is a squat, mottled brown and green toadstool mushroom of a Bitter Coast region. Hackle low leaf is a succulent leaf of the Grazelands, prized for its taste and its restorative powers. Quama Cuddle is a tough, waxy substance that comes from sacks in the mouths of Quama. Adventurers' recipes. Unfortunately, the potions most favored by adventurers require more rare and expensive ingredients. There are exceptions, like the easy and affordable recipe for Fire Shield, but most such potions require at least one ingredient with high cost in coin or blood. Fire Shield potions can be made from comberry and slowed soap. Comberry is the bitter berry of the Ascanian Isles. Slowed soap is a waxy substance made from the immature non-sentient forms of the slowed. Slowed soap is not expensive, but it is only rarely stocked by apothecaries or alchemists and cannot be collected locally. An adventurer can fortify their strength with a potion made from ash yams and dragwax. Ash yam is a tough, tuberous root vegetable common to the Ascanian Isle regions. Dragwax is a tough, waxy substance scraped from drag shells. Drag are powerful aquatic creatures, and hunting them for their hides and wax is dangerous occupation. Invisibility, one of the most prized effects of potions, can be made only from crushed diamonds and bittergreen petals. Bittergreen is a red flowering plant growing in the Red Mountain region. Diamonds, on the other hand, are very rare and expensive, and usually must be purchased from fine alchemists.
The First Hold Revolt by Mavius Sai. The story of how Hlelu Helseth's sister kept the Somerset Isle city of Firsthold. You told me that if her brother won, she would be sister to the King of Wayrest, and Raymond would want to keep her for the alliance. But her brother Helseth lost, and has fled with his mother back to Morrowind, and still Raymond has not left her to marry me. Lady Gieline took a long, slow drag of the hookah and blew out dragon's breath, so the scent of blossoms perfumed her gilded chamber. You make a very poor advisor, Kael. I might have spent my time romancing the King of Cloudrest, or Alinor, instead of the wretched royal husband of Queen Morgaya. Kael knew better than to hurt his lady's vanity by the mere suggestion that the King of Firsthold might have come to love his Dunmer queen. Instead, he gave her a few minutes to pause and look from her balcony out over the high cliff palaces of the ancient capital. The moons shone like crystal on the deep sapphire waters of the Abyssinian Sea. It was ever springtide here, and he could well understand why she would prefer a throne in this land than in Cloudrest or Alinor. Finally, he spoke. The people are with you, my lady. They do not relish the idea of Raymond's dark elf heirs ruling the kingdom when he is gone. I wonder, she said calmly, I wonder if, as the king would not give up his queen for want of alliances, whether she would give herself up out of fear. Of all the people of Firsthold, who most dislikes the Dunmer influence on the court? Is this a trick question, my lady? Asked Kael. The Trebite monks, of course. Their credo has ever been for pure Altmer bloodlines on Somerset, and among the royal families most of all. But, my lady, they make very weak allies. I know, said Gieline, taking up her hookah again thoughtfully, a smile creeping across her face. Morgaya has seen to it that they have no power. She would have exterminated them altogether had Raymond not stopped her for all the good they do for the country folk. What if they found themselves with a very powerful benefactress, one with intimate knowledge of the court of Firsthold, the chief concubine of the king, and all the gold to buy weapons with that her father, the king of Skywatch, could supply? Well armed, and with the support of the country people, they would be formidable, nodded Kael. But as your advisor, I must warn you. If you make yourself an active foe of Queen Morgaya, you must play to win. She has inherited much of her mother, Queen Baranzaya's intelligence and spirit of vengeance. She will not know I am her foe until it is too late, shrugged Gieline. Go to the Trebite monastery and bring me Friar Lila. We must strategize our plan of attack. For 2 weeks, Raymond was advised about growing resentment in the countryside from peasants who called Morgaya the Black Queen, but it was nothing that he had not heard before. His attention was on the pirates of a small island off the coast called Kaluas Lar. They had been more brazen as late, attacking royal barges in organized raids. To deliver a crushing blow, he ordered the greatest part of his militia to invade the island, an incursion he himself would lead. A few days after Raymond left the capital, the revolt of the Trebite monks exploded. The attacks were well coordinated and without warning. The chief of the guards did not wait to be announced, bursting into Morgaya's bedchamber ahead of a flurry of maidservants. My queen, he said, it is a revolution. By contrast, Gieline was not asleep when Kael came to deliver the news. She was seated by the window, smoking her hookah and looking at the fires far off in the hills. Morgaya is with council, he explained. I am certain they are telling her that the Trebite monks are behind the uprising, and that the revolution will be at the city gates by morning. How large is the revolutionary army, in contrast to the remaining royal militia? Asked Gilles. The odds are well in our favor, said Cale, though not perhaps as much as we hoped. The country folk, it seems, like to complain about their queen, but stop short of insurrection. Primarily, the army is composed of the monks themselves, and a horde of mercenaries your father's gold bought. In a way of thinking, it is preferable this way. They are more professional and organized than a common mob. Really, they are a true army, complete with a horn section. If that doesn't frighten the Black Queen into abdicating, nothing will, smiled Gilles, rising from her chair. The poor dear must be beside herself with worry. I must fly to her side and enjoy it. Gilles was disappointed when she saw Morgaya come out of the council chambers. Considering that she had been woken from a deep sleep with cries of revolution and had spent the last several hours in consultation with her meager general force, she looked beautiful. There was a sparkle of proud defiance in her bright red eyes. My queen, Gilles cried, forcing real tears. I came as soon as I heard. Will we all be slaughtered? A distinct possibility, replied Morgaya simply. Gilles tried to read her, but the expressions of women, especially alien women, were a far greater challenge than those of Altmer men. I hate myself for even thinking to propose this, said Gilles, but since the cause of their fury is you, perhaps if you were to give up the throne, they might disperse. Please understand, my queen, I am only thinking of the good of the kingdom and our own lives. I understand the spirit of your suggestion, smiled Morgaya, and I will take it under advisement. Believe me, I've thought of it myself, but I don't think it will come to that. Have you a plan for defending us? Asked Gilles, contorting her features to an expression she knew bespoke girlish hope. The king left us several dozen of his royal battle mages, said Morgaya. I think the mob believes we have nothing but palace guards and a few soldiers to protect us. When they get to the gates and are greeted with a wave of fireballs, I find it highly likely that they will lose heart and retreat. But isn't there some protection they could be using against such an assault? Asked Gilles in her best worried voice. If they knew about it, naturally there is. But an unruly mob is unlikely to have mages skilled in the arts of restoration, by which they could shield themselves from the spells, or mysticism, by which they could reflect the spells back on my battle mages. That would be the worst scenario. But even if they were well organized enough to have mystics in their ranks, and enough of them to reflect so many spells, it just isn't done. No battlefield commander would advise such a defense during a siege unless he knew precisely what he was going to be meeting. And then, of course, once the trap is sprung, Morgaya winked, it's too late for a countering spell. A most cunning solution, your highness, said Gilles, honestly impressed. Morgaya excused herself to meet with her battle mages, and Gilles gave her an embrace. Cale was waiting in the palace garden for his lady. Are there mystics amongst the mercenaries? She asked quickly. Several, in fact, replied Cale, bewildered by her query. Largely rejects from the Sigic order, but they know enough to cast the regular spells of the school. You must sneak out the city gates and tell Friar Lylam to have them cast reflection spells on all the front line before they attack, said Gilles. That's most irregular battlefield strategy, frowned Cale. I know it is, fool, but that's what Morgaya is counting on. There's a gang of battle mages who are going to be waiting on the battlements to greet our army with a barrage of fireballs. Battle mages? I would have thought that King Raymond would have brought them with him to fight the pirates. You would have thought that, laughed Gilles, but then we would be defeated. Now go! Friar Lylam agreed with Cale that it was a bizarre, unheard-of way to begin a battle, casting reflection spells on all one's troops. It went against every tradition, and as a Trebite monk, he valued tradition above every other virtue. There was little other choice, though, given the intelligence. He had few enough healers in the army as it were, and their energies could not be wasted casting resistance spells. At dawn's light, the rebel army was in sight of the gleaming spires of Firstfold. Friar Lylam gathered together every soldier who knew even the rudimentary secrets of mysticism, who knew how to tap into the elementary conundrums and knots of the energies of magicka. Though few were masters of the art, their combined force was powerful to behold. A great surge of entangling power washed over the army, crackling, hissing, and infusing all with their ghostly force. When they arrived at the gates, every soldier, even the least imaginative, knew that no spell would touch him for a long time. Friar Lylam watched his army batter into the gate with the great satisfaction of a commander who has counteracted an unthinkable attack with an outrageous defense. The smile quickly faded from his face. They were met at the battlements not by mages, but by common archers of the palace guard. As the flaming arrows fell upon the siegers like a red rain, the healers ran in to help the wounded. their healing spells reflected off the dying men, one after the other. Chaos ruled as the attackers suddenly found themselves defenseless and began a panicked, unorganized retreat. Friar Lilam considered briefly holding his ground before fleeing himself. Later, he would send furious notes to Lady Gialine and Kale, but they were returned. Even his best secret agents within the palace were unable to find their whereabouts. Neither had, as it turns out, much previous experience with torture, and they soon confessed their treachery to the king's satisfaction. Kale was executed, and Gialine was sent back with escort to her father's court of Skywatch. He has still to find a husband for her. Raymond, by contrast, has elected not to take a new royal concubine. The common folk of Firsthold consider this break in palace protocol to be more of the sinister alien influence of the Black Queen, and grumble to all who will listen.
An Herbalist's Guide to Skyrim by Agneta Failure. Those avoiding this northern province due to claims of barbarism or concerns over climate are doing themselves a disservice. In fact, Skyrim has a wealth of materials that every alchemist would do well to avail himself of. I have travelled extensively through this land, and here are but a few of my findings. Bleeding Crown. The caps of these mushrooms do indeed appear smeared with blood, though it is often hard to see in the dark, damp places in which they grow. Not uncommonly found in Skyrim, their abundance is countered by a difficulty in acquiring them. As any experienced herbalist knows, the darkest of caves often conceal far more than mere mushrooms. Nonetheless, these potent fungi, when combined with certain powered antlers, produce a mixture rendering one quite susceptible to poison. Their usefulness is also quite apparent when mixed with lavender, creating a substance highly resistant to magic. Deathbell. Folklore abounds about this flower found in the swamps of Hjalmarch. Some stories claim it grows where unfortunate deaths have taken place. Others insist it grows first and then lures unsuspecting people and animals to their doom. I have found no direct evidence to support these stories. Indeed, I found the flowers difficult to locate at all. While it is most well known for its use in poisons, it would be remiss to overlook that the blossoms of the Deathbell are very effective in mixtures for boosting one's alchemy skill. Dragonfly. A surprising number of insects survive in Skyrim's climate, many thriving in the lower southern areas of the province. Dragonflies can be found in a great many places, and while catching them can be a daunting prospect, the reward is well worth the effort. It was beyond the scope of my research to determine whether the orange and blue dragonflies are fully different breeds or merely simple coloral variations, but through experimentation I found that the orange dragonfly, when combined with the very hardy barnacles found along the coast, transfers some of their flighty nature, giving the herbalist some very nimble fingers. Hagraven Claw. The claws of a hagraven are best obtained in shops. It is inadvisable to suggest one collects them oneself. These creatures have traded in their humanity for excessively powerful magics, and the transformation they undergo infuse their entire being with some element of that power. Ingesting the powdered claws makes one more resistant to magic, but an especially curious property of the claws is revealed when mixed with snowberries, often found in Skyrim's higher elevations. I found myself capable of comprehending enchantments I had believed mystifying after ingesting the mixture, and have passed this knowledge on to several court wizards who were grateful for the knowledge. Jazbay. There was a time when it would be considered treason to pick one of these grapes without express permission from the Emperor himself. It is my understanding that although growers in Skyrim were successful in improving the fruit's survivability, it came at the cost of flavor. No longer is it quite the prize it once was. And yet, growing amidst the volcanic tundra of Eastmarch, it is still immensely useful for concocting potions. Mages value it highly, as it can be combined with simple garlic to enhance the regeneration of magicka. While no longer against the law, picking these grapes in large amounts is best kept to oneself. Luna Mothwing. As with the dragonflies, I was taken aback by the number of butterflies, moths, and other insects that manage to thrive in Skyrim. The Luna Moth is especially beautiful. It is thin, almost ephemeral wings seem too delicate to hoist anything into the air, giving them an almost magical appearance. Indeed, that sense extends to the properties they exhibit when crushed and distilled, an action I admit was difficult to perform at the first, no matter my resolve to discover all that Skyrim has to offer. These creatures are simply that beautiful. While they can be used for creating poisons that emit magicka, I feel that would be a waste of their potential. Do not be alarmed if, when the wings are broken down almost completely, they appear to almost disappear under your mortar. That very quality makes the wings quite effective in potions of invisibility. Tundra cotton. Not all Nords are savages wrapped in animal skins, howling at the moon. There are a wide variety of fabrics worn throughout the land, thanks to in no small part to the stubborn tundra cotton. It soaks up what rain it can in the plains west of Whiterun and blooms frequently. While it does not exhibit any of the more striking alchemical properties, it is a staple in potions for not only fortifying magicka, but for resisting spells as well. I wonder if that quality is what allows it to have adapted so well to this climate. Nightshade. The name and shape of this plant are known to all. Long understood to be one of the more potent components in many poisons, the average Nord keeps his distance from the bright purple flowers nested among dark leaves. It is exceedingly effective as a pure poison, but can also be combined with other compounds to stiffen joints as well. It is thus favored amongst those who wish to disable their opponents in battle, and can be found coating the blades of many of the more unsavory characters in Skyrim.
Dangerous stuff, that is. Be careful.
What was that?
Whoever did this is...
Goldenglow Plantation.
Oh, this feels good.
Welcome to the Dragonborn's aquarium. A common fish, great. I will put it in the aquarium. Good day, visitor. A common fish, great. I will put it in the aquarium. Welcome to the Dragonborn's aquarium. A common fish, great. I will put it in the aquarium. Hello there, how are you? That's uncommon. Nice catch. Here's your gold. That's uncommon. Nice catch. Here's your gold. A common fish, great. I will put it in the aquarium. Good day, visitor. A common fish, great. I will put it in the aquarium. Welcome to the Dragonborn's aquarium. A common fish, great. I will put it in the aquarium. Hello there, how are you? That's uncommon. Nice catch. Here's your gold. Good day, visitor. That's uncommon. Nice catch. Here's your gold. Welcome to the Dragonborn's aquarium. That's uncommon. Nice catch. Here's your gold. Good day, visitor. A common fish, great. I will put it in the aquarium. Welcome to the Dragonborn's aquarium. Ew, is that a slaughterfish? Oh god, I hate these. Hello there, how are you? A common fish, great. I will put it in the aquarium. Welcome to the Dragonborn's aquarium. That's uncommon. Nice catch. Here's your gold. Did you just bring me a mud crab? Well, okay, thanks. Good day, visitor. What? I heard that this fish can only be found in Blackridge. You're one of a kind, my friend. Welcome to the Dragonborn's aquarium. A common fish, great. I will put it in the aquarium. The birds. Oh, the ones in the Hall of the Emperor. They were going to be sold for their meat, but I had an empty hall here, so I took them in. Do you like them? Well, I did receive a letter from a fisherman saying he could send some cyrodiilic fish to the aquarium. While I have no idea what kind of fish he is talking about, I am very interested in his offer. The only problem is that he didn't provide any information about what he wants. Would you mind going there for me? The fisherman is in the Solitude Inn. He probably arrived by boat. Here, take this gold. It should help you get to Solitude safely. Safe travels.
Let's hear it.
Someday, I'm gonna kill a dragon all by myself.
Well, look at this. Another city rat crawled outside the walls. I don't suppose you've come up here to tell old Froki about your supposed divines.
What's wrong with the divines?
They're stolen idols. Imposter gods, sold by silver tongues. No thank you. Froki will not forget Kyne, or her sacred trials.
What are the sacred trials?
It's an old Nord tradition, a test to prove your worth in the eyes of Kyne. Show that you're a hunter, and no simple butcher. Kyne teaches us to respect the beasts, and blesses the hunter who will face their champions. True Nord hunters are those who survive the trials. Do you think you're strong enough for Kyne's blessing? I would be glad to pass this tradition down.
Yes, tell me what to do.
You must defeat guardian beasts, blessed by Kyne. I will anoint you with the symbol of the wolf, the crab, and the skeever. This will compel the guardian to appear when you reach his lair. Here's where you need to go.
What do I need to do?
Return when you've defeated the guardian wolf, crab, and skeever.
A guardian skeever? Are you serious?
Don't mock it, Pop. Even the lowliest beasts can kill the weak and arrogant. We'll try more powerful enemies next, if you survive this.
Is Haeming your son?
Grandson. He's a strong lad. His parents were at Helgen when... well, you know.
Do you like having Haeming around?
Well, can't say I was a great father the first time around. Now that he's here, it's like a second chance. He's a good lad.
Tell me about Kyne.
Those sycophants in the temple would call her Kinnereth. Just a pale shadow of the truth. Like all the temple divines. Kyne, blessed warrior wife, Shore's widow, sacred to any true Nord hunter. She's the mother of men and beasts, and her veil is the storm.
Someday, I'm gonna kill a dragon all by myself.
Tell me about yourself.
Froki won't let me hunt on my own yet, but he never shuts up about killing his first stag when he was 11.
Do you like living here?
It ain't so bad. I miss living with my parents back in Helgen, though. Froki can't cook, and there's nobody to talk to up here.
Were your parents killed at Helgen?
Yeah, but don't say anything about it to Froki. I don't think he understands.
You'll die this day.
Time to get lost, friend.
Gonna split your belly like an old woman's bird. Oblivion take you! Fuck! Fuck! Here.
Tell you what, you start running.
stone. This one makes me hard. I mean, makes you hard. You. Damage. Resistance.
Never know when to give up. I thought we'd taught them enough of a lesson at their hall.
To come in here alone, a fool like all the rest of them.
He fought well. Jet on and press off with their match with him.
Ha! Those two deserve what they got. Their arrogance had become insufferable.
Oh, this talk is making me thirsty. Perhaps another vigilant will wander in soon.
I wish Loki would hurry it up. I have half a mind to return to the castle and tell Harkon what a fool he's entrusted this mission to.
I have half a mind to tell Loki of your disloyalty.
You wouldn't dare. Now shut up and keep on watch. You may feed again. You may feed again today.
Dimhollow Crypt. Doesn't look very welcoming now, does it?
Hello? Who's there? Knew it! Like the bite of a flea!
What now?
And so you learn the power.
Aye. What is it?
I'll never tell you anything, vampire. My oath to Stendar is stronger than any suffering you can inflict on me.
I believe you, Vigilant. And I don't think you even know what you found here. So go and meet your beloved Stendar.
Are you sure that was wise, Lokio? He still might have told us something. We haven't gotten anywhere ourselves with
nothing. He served his purpose by leading us to this place. Now it is up to us to bring Harkon the prize. And we will not return without it. Vindgalmo and Orthion will make way for me after this.
Yes, of course, Lokio. Do not forget who brought you news of the Vigilant's discovery.
I never forget who my friends are. Or my enemies.
Someone there?
Whatever.
Dimhollow Crypt. Guess some caves won't be a good shelter, even if you clear them out.
This isn't gonna be one of those I kill all the things while you loot all the things adventures now, is it?
Where is... Who sent you here?
Who were you expecting?
I was expecting someone like me, at least.
Are you a...
Vampire, yes.
Why were you locked away like this?
But if you want to know the whole story, help me get back to my family's home.
Where do you need to go?
My family used to live on an island to the west of Solitude. I would guess they still do. By the way, my name is Serana. Good to meet you.
Is that an Elder Scroll?
Yes, it is. And it's mine.
Why do you have an Elder Scroll?
It's complicated. I can't really talk about it. I'm sorry.
How long were you in there?
Good question. Hard to say. I can't really tell. I feel like it was a long time. Who is Skyrim's High King?
That's actually a matter for debate.
Oh, wonderful. A war of succession. Good to know the world didn't get boring while I was gone. Who are the contenders?
The Empire supports Elisif, but there are many in Skyrim loyal to Ulfric.
Empire? What empire?
The Empire from Cyrodiil.
Cyrodiil is the seat of an empire? I must have been gone longer than I thought. Definitely longer than we planned. Please, let's hurry. I need to get home so I can figure out what's happened.
Any idea how to get out of here?
Your guess is as good as mine. This place looks pretty different from when I was locked away.
Why were you locked away?
I'd rather not get into that with you, if that's all right. I'm sorry, it's not that. It's just that I don't know who I can trust just yet. Let's get to my home, and I'll have a better sense of where we all stand.
Tell me about your home.
It's on an island near Solitude. Hopefully we can find a boat to take us there. It's my family's home, not the most welcoming place, but depending on who's around, I'll be safe there.
Someone you don't want to see?
My father and I don't really get along. Ugh, saying it out loud makes it sound so common. Little girl who doesn't get along with her father. Read that story 100 times. Let's get going.
Hold on. Did you hear something? Good night, Lucia.
This feels like the right way. I was starting to worry.
No? Do you know where we're going? Or are you just lost and you don't want to admit it?
Thanks, sweetheart.
It's so good to breathe again. This weather is incredible. Oh? What is it? Very well. I'm no fan of the sun, but it would be better than this.
You know, we should really get back home soon and check on the kids.
That's it. Out there to the north. We used to keep a boat around here to get there and back. Using that spell again? Someone's been raiding the dusty section of the college library, haven't they?
Is something on your mind?
Yeah, actually. Why are you doing this for me? Going through all this trouble to bring me back home.
I'm taking a big risk here, but something tells me you're worth it.
Really? So, there is something else. Well, perhaps I am. Anyway, enough of that. Come on, let's move. Hey, so, before we go in there...
Are you alright?
I think so. And thanks for asking. I wanted to thank you for getting me this far. But after we get in there, I'm going to go my own way for a while. I think. I know your friends would probably want to kill everything in here. I'm hoping you can show some more control than that. Once we're inside, just keep quiet for a bit. Let me take the lead.
Lady Serana's back. Open the gate. Way I hear it, Lady Serana's been gone a real long time.
How dare you trespass here? Wait, Serana? Is that truly you? I cannot believe my eyes. My lord, everyone! Serana has returned!
I guess
They can infect you with that curse.
I can't believe it. My long-lost daughter returns at last. I trust you have my Elder Scroll.
After all these years, that's the first thing you ask me? Yes.
This castle makes my skin crawl.
Of course, I'm delighted to see you, my daughter. Must I really say the words aloud? Ah, if only your traitor mother were here. I would let her watch this reunion before putting her head on a spike. Now tell me, who is this stranger you have brought into our hall?
This is my savior, the one who freed me.
For my daughter's safe return, you have my gratitude. Tell me, what is your name? I am Harkon, Lord of this court. By now, my daughter would have told you what we are.
You're vampires.
Not just vampires. We are among the oldest and most powerful vampires in Skyrim. For centuries we lived here, far from the cares of the world. All that ended when my wife betrayed me and stole away that which I valued most.
What happens now?
You have done me a great service, and now you must be rewarded. There is but one gift I can give that is equal in value to the Elder Scroll and my daughter. I offer you my blood. Take it and you will walk as a lion among sheep. Men will tremble at your approach, and you will never fear death again.
And if I refuse your gift?
Then you will be prey, like all mortals. I will spare your life this once, but you will be banished from this hall. Perhaps you still need convincing. Behold the power! This is the power that I offer. Now, make your choice.
I don't want to become a vampire. I refuse your gift.
So be it. You are prey, like all mortals. I banish you.
Are you alright? That damned gate guard shut the gate in my face.
I'm fine, Kaiden, but guess what? They have an Elder Scroll.
An Elder Scroll? You're sure? That's dangerous magic they're playing with.
I know. Who knows what they might use it for?
Come on. Let's get back to Isran. This can't be good.
I'll just be back here enjoying the view.
There's something
What
out
was
there.
that?
You're mine!
Take those blood suckers down.
good.
Look at this. I should have known it was only a matter of time before they found us. It's the price we pay for openly recruiting. We'll have to step up our defenses. I don't suppose you have some good news for me.
I have news, but I wouldn't call it good.
Of course. Why did I suppose differently? Fine. Tell me what you know.
The vampires were looking for a woman trapped in Dimhollow.
A woman? Trapped in there? That doesn't make any sense. Who is she? More importantly, where is she?
She's the daughter of a powerful vampire lord.
And so you delivered her to them.
They also have an Elder Scroll.
They what? And you didn't stop them? You didn't secure the scroll?
There were too many of them, and only one of me.
So they have everything they wanted, and we're left with nothing. By the Divines. This couldn't get much worse. This is more than you and I can handle.
We have to do something.
Well, of course we do. I'm old, not stupid. We're just going to need some help. If they're bold enough to attack us here, then this may be bigger than I thought. I have good men here, but there are people I've met and worked with over the years. We need their skills, their talents, if we're going to survive this. If you can find them, we might have a chance.
Where can I find the people we need?
Right to the point, aren't you? I like that. Not like those fools in the Order. We should keep it small. Too many people and we'll draw unwanted attention to ourselves. I think we'll want Serene Gerard. Breton girl, whip smart and good with tinkering. Fascination with the Dwemer. Weapons in particular. Last I knew, she was out in the Reach, convinced she was about to find the biggest dwarven ruins yet.
She'll help us?
Might need a little convincing, but she should. You'll also want to find Gunmar. Big brute of a Nord. Hates vampires almost as much as I do. Got it into his head years back that his experience with animals would help. Trolls in particular, from what I hear. Last I knew he was out scouring Skyrim for more beasts to tame. Bring the two of them back here, and we can get started on coming up with a plan. Stay alert.
PJ's letter to Lydia. Lydia, I've long known of your prowess in battle, but after seeing the cunning and discretion you displayed in your encounter with Azadi, I think you're exactly the kind of person we need right now. We're known as remnants. Some call us the Eyes That Watch. For decades we've helped steer the destiny of Hammerfell. We are a mirage, a constant and formless threat to our enemies on the horizon. I, Fije, serve as their leader. Though the Dominion withdrew from Hammerfell years ago, the Thalmor continue to strike at us in secret. We received word from the city of Sentinel that one of our own, Rakid, has been taken hostage by the Thalmor. They have been aided by Isma, powerful noble and traitor to his people. There is no doubt they will try to extract what Rakid knows about Sentinel's defenses. We have to stop them before that happens. We've learned that Rakid may be transported across Skyrim soon. It's vital that we intercept him from the Thalmor before it's too late. I need someone like you who can move freely throughout Skyrim and not arouse suspicion. Speak to me in Purewater Run in the hills of Markarth. I await your arrival. Fijeth. Grenwolf's note. Ulrich thinks there's things I can't punch through, but I've punched through walls and I've punched through men. I don't care how thick your armor is. My knuckles are thicker. You're hard and calloused and ugly as a Dremora, but they get the job done no matter what. I once met a warrior who claimed to have the most impenetrable armor ever known to man. But when we fought, I punched him so hard, the shockwaves rearranged every bone in his body to the point his toes were coming out of his ears. So even if the armor doesn't give, the man inside is as soft as jello. The spider ain't much different. It's got hard parts and it's got soft parts. When I ball my fist and put all my weight onto my back foot, there's nothing anyone can do. Ulrich's note. Grenwolf's always been beyond stubborn. On top of that, he lacks patience. When a man like him fails to open a jar, he smashes the glass rather than rely on a cloth for a better grip. In Grenwolf's mind, using that cloth is a weakness. In my mind, it's far better not to have your food covered in broken glass. It's a shame, because I think he has the talent to be a good swordsman, but his foolish pride won't allow him to admit it. Orion's notes on the Bloodworm Helm. During the Third Era and the Oblivion Crisis, the Necromancer cult led by Menomarco undertook a full-scale attack of the Mages Guild in Cyrodiil, almost unhinging it. In the process, the champion of Cyrodiil recovered the Bloodworm Helm, and it was entrusted and secured by Archmage Traven. Upon his sudden death at the hands of the Necromancers, the helm went missing, thought to have been reclaimed by the Worm King, but even after his death, the helm never resurfaced. It is rumored that a void in leadership amongst the Necromancers arose after Menomarco's death, and caused the helm to change hands many times. Eventually, the necromantic cult was rooted out almost entirely, and Cyrodiil was purged of their taint. I did find that prominent members of the order moved northward into Skyrim and High Rock, so it's likely that the helm is still held by a prominent member of the cult. Orion's notes on the Dragonbone Mail. The Dragonbone Mail is a fantastic relic from ages past. Though now with the return of the dragons, master smiths all over Skyrim are seeking the materials which had not been available for use since before the First Era. Nonetheless, the Dragonbone Mail is still a masterfully made piece, which was held at the Museum of Mournhold until its unfortunate end. Terasa at the museum told me that the mail was taken from the museum and safeguarded by a benefactor of the museum somewhere in Morrowind, but that the caretaker of the armor was murdered by a wizard, and the armor taken. The only indications I can find from the records on the investigation was that the killer's magic matched magic of Telvanni origin. Beyond this, I have no means of tracking the mail's whereabouts.
The History of Raven Rock, Volume 2, by Lyran Tillano. After a few years, the relentless ash storms from the ever-erupting Red Mountain had transformed Solstheim's southern reaches into pure ash wastes, reminiscent of those present on Vardenfell itself. The storms would leave behind deep dunes of ash that made life exceedingly difficult in Raven Rock. In order to protect the town from these drifts, Brara Morvain proposed that the East Empire Company construct a large wall of our own design to protect the east end of town. The company quickly agreed and provided the necessary funds. After almost a year, the construction was complete, and the huge edifice was named the Bulwark. The wall proved to be extremely effective and allowed work to continue unabated in the mines. In 4th Era 16, when Solstheim was passed into the hands of the Dunmer people, the East Empire Company was forced to relinquish Raven Rock's control to House Redoran. The council quickly named Brara Morvain as councillor of their new town, and allowed her to rule Solstheim as she saw fit. As a result of this changing of the guard, almost the entire Imperial population left Raven Rock and returned to Cyrodiil. Brara continued to welcome the Dunmer that elected to settle on Solstheim. Some chose to stay in Raven Rock to work in the mines, and others took to more familiar territory and began a nomadic lifestyle in the ash wastes. The next few decades were the golden years for Raven Rock. Brar Morvain was keeping the peace, the mines were still producing large quantities of ebony, and the Dwemer that lived on the island were happy. After almost 50 years of prosperity, in 4th Era 65, Brar Morvain finally succumbed to old age and passed away. She was interred in the family's ancestral tomb, and her son, Laeral Morvain, took her place. The people who had lived in Raven Rock during Brar's time as counselor were pleased to discover that Laeral shared his mother's notions of rulership. He was fair and compassionate, which kept the people on the island quite happy for many decades. The History of Raven Rock, Volume 3, by Lyra Tillana. All was going well in Raven Rock until 4th Era 95, when an attempt on Laeral's life was made without warning. Fortunately, the attack was unsuccessful thanks to the prowess of the Whiterun Guard. Under questioning by Captain Modine Vela, the assassin was revealed to be Vyler Yulin of House Hlelu. House Hlelu had been at odds with House Whiterun for years, following their removal from the Council of Great Houses. The Hlelu believed that House Whiterun was instrumental in this reorganization and have held a grudge ever since. Their attempt on Laeral's life was meant to send a message to the Council that House Whiterun was not as mighty as they purported to be, and that they were truly vulnerable and weak. The Whiterun Guard investigated further and discovered that Vylor had been organizing a coup in Raven Rock in an attempt to fully wrest control of the island from Laeral's grasp. Vylor and his conspirators were executed, and the coup was quelled. Several recent events have served to solidify the Dwemer people's respect for Laeral Morvain. In 4th Era 130, the bulwark began to show its age and threatened to crumble. The councillor elected to use the bulk of his personal fortune to have it repaired. In 4th Era 150, a small force of Argonians landed on Solstheim with the intent of wreaking havoc on the island, and Councillor Morvain led the charge against them personally. And in 4th Era 170, when the ebony mine finally began to dry up, he drained the remainder of his coffers, keeping the people fed. By 4th Era 181, the mine's ebony veins were completely exhausted. Laeral ordered the mine to be shut down, and Raven Rock turned to hunting and fishing for its trade. A few Dwemer families departed Solstheim and returned to the mainland, but most stayed behind. At present, Laeral Morvain is still the ruler of Raven Rock. The Whiterun Guard continues to maintain order within the town and the surrounding area, keeping Raven Rock's residents safe and in line. If even so much as a rumor of dissent reaches Laeral's ears, he has it quashed immediately. He's well aware that there may be a few Hlelu loyalists still present among her population that would like to see him dead. The future may appear bleak for Raven Rock, but the spirit of its inhabitants will never be broken.
Ice and Chitin by Placius Spatek, a tale of the manipulation of chitin armor. The tale dates to the year 855 of the Second Era, after General Talos had taken the name Tiber Septim and begun his conquest of Tamriel. One of his commanding officers, Beatia of Iliolos, had been surprised in an ambush while returning from a meeting with the Emperor. She and her personal guard of 5 soldiers barely escaped and were separated from their army. They fled across the desolate, sleet-painted rocky cliffs by foot. The attack had been so sudden, they had not even the time to don armor or get to their horses. "If we can get to the Gorvig Ridge," called Lieutenant Ascutus, gesturing toward a peak off in the mist, his voice barely discernible over the wind, "we can meet the Legion you stationed in Pornac." Beatia looked across the craggy landscape, through the windswept hoary trees, and shook her head. "Not that way. We'll be struck down before we make it halfway to the mountain. You can see their horses' breath through the trees." She directed her guard toward a ruined old keep on the frozen isthmus of Neron, across the bay from Gorvig Ridge. Jutting out on a promontory of rock, it was like many other abandoned castles in northern Skyrim, remnants of Raymond Cyrodiil's protective shield against the continent of Akavir. As they reached their destination and made a fire, they could hear the army of the war chiefs of Danstra behind them, making camp on the land southwest, blocking the only escape but the sea. The soldiers assessed the stock of the keep while Beatia looked out to the fog-veiled waters through the casements of the ruin. She threw a stone, watching it skip across the ice, trailing puffs of mist before it disappeared with a splash into a crack in the surface. "No food or weaponry to be found, Commander," Lieutenant Ascutus reported. "There's a pile of armor in storage, but it's definitely taken on the elements over the years. I don't know if it's salvageable at all." "We won't last long here," Beatia replied. "The Nords know that we'll be vulnerable when night falls, and this old rock won't hold them off. If there's anything in the keep we can use, find it. We have to make it across the ice floe to the ridge." After a few minutes of searching and matching pieces, the guards presented 2 very grimy, scuffed, and cracked suits of chitin armor. Even the least proud of the adventurers and pirates who had looted the castle over the years had thought the shells of chitin beneath their notice. The soldiers did not dare to clean them. The dust looked to be the only adhesive holding them together. "They won't offer us much protection, just slow us down," grimaced Asketus. "If we run across the ice as soon as it gets dark, anyone who can plan and execute an ambush like the war chiefs of Danstrad will be expecting that. We need to move quickly now, before they're any closer." Biesha drew a map of the bay in the dust, and then a semicircular path across the water, an arc stretching from the castle to the Gorvig Ridge. The men should go the long way across the bay like so. The ice is thick, and there are ways from the shoreline, and there are a lot of rocks for cover. "You're not staying behind to hold the castle?" "Of course not." Biesha shook her head and drew a straight line from the castle to the closest shore across the bay. "I'll take one of the chitin suits and try to cross the water here. If you don't see or hear me when you've made it to land, don't wait. Just get to Pornak." Lieutenant Asketus tried to dissuade his commander, but he knew that she would never order one of her men to perform the suicidal act of diversion, that all would die before they reached Gorvig Ridge if the warlord's army was not distracted. He could find only one way to honor his duty to protect his commanding officer. It was not easy convincing Commander Biesha that he should accompany her, but at last she relented. The sun hung low, but still cast a diffused glow, illuminating the snow with a ghostly light, when the 5 men and 1 woman slipped through the boulders beneath the castle to the water's frozen edge. Biesha and Asketus moved carefully and precisely, painfully aware of each dull crunch of chitin against stone. At their commander's signal, the 4 unarmored men dashed towards the north across the ice. When her men had reached the first fragment of cover, a spiral of stone jutting a few yards from the base of the promontory, Biesha turned to listen for the sound of the army above. Nothing but silence. They were still unseen. Asketus nodded, his eyes through the helm showing no fear. The commander and her lieutenant stepped onto the ice and began to run. When Biesha had surveyed the bay from the castle ramparts, the crossing closest to the shore had seemed like a vast, featureless plain of white. Now that she was down on the ice, it was even more flat and stark. The sheet of mist rose only up to their ankles, but it billowed up at their approach like the hand of nature itself was pointing out their presence to their enemies. They were utterly exposed. It came almost as a relief when Biesha heard one of the war chief's scouts whistle a signal to his masters. They didn't have to turn around to see if the army was coming. The sound of galloping hooves and the crash of trees giving way was very clear over the whistling wind. Biesha wished she could risk a glance to the north to see if her men were hidden from view, but she didn't dare. She could hear Asketus running to keep her right, keeping pace, breathing hard. He was used to wearing heavier armor, but the chitin joints were so brittle and tight from years of disuse, it was all he could do to bend them. The rocky shore to the ridge still looked an eternity away when Biesha felt and heard the first volley of arrows. Most struck the ice at their feet with sharp cracking sounds, but a few nearly found home, ricocheting off their backs. She silently offered a prayer of thanks to whatever anonymous shellsmith, now long dead, who had crafted the armor. They continued to run, as the first rain of arrows was quickly followed by a second, and then a third. "Thanks, Stendarr," Asketus gasped. "If there was only leather in the keep, we'd be pierced through and through. Now if only it weren't so rigid." Biesha felt her own armor joints begin to set, her knees and hips finding more and more resistance with each step. There could be no denying it. They were drawing closer towards the shore, but they were running much more slowly. She heard the first, dreadful galloping crunch of the army charging across the floe toward them. The riders were cautious on the slippery ice, not driving their horses at full speed, but Biesha knew that they would be upon the 2 of them soon enough. The old chitin armor could withstand the bite of a few arrows, but not a lance driven with the force of a galloping horse. The only great unknown was time. The thunder of beating hooves was deafening behind them when Asketus and Biesha reached the edge of the shore. The giant, jagged stones that strung around the beach blockaded the approach. Beneath their feet, the ice sighed and crackled. They could not stand still, run forward, nor run back. Straining against the tired metal in the armor joints, they took 2 bounds forward and flew at the boulders. The first landing on the ice sounded an explosive crack. When they rose for the final jump, it was on a wave of water so cold it felt like fire through the thin armor. Asketus's right hand found a purchase in a deep fissure. Biesha gripped with both hands, but her boulder was slick with frost. Faces pressed to the stone, they could not turn to face the army behind them. But they heard the ice splintering, and the soldiers cry out in terror for just an instant. Then there was no sound, the whining of the wind and the purring lap of the water. A moment later, there were footsteps on the cliff above. The 4 guardsmen had crossed the bay. There were 2 to pull Biesha up from the face of the boulder, and another 2 for Asketus. They strained and swore at the weight, but finally they had their commander and her lieutenant safely on the edge of Gorvig Ridge. Why, Mara, that's heavy for light armor. Yes, smiled Viesha wearily, looking back over the empty, broken ice floe, the cracks radiating from the parallel paths she and Asketus had run. But sometimes, that's good.
My bonny lass.
Are you going to put some clothes back on now?
Fine.
Well, moving on.